Fans, welcome to Sports Chat this week. Spring break is over. There's a lot coming up in the world of Cougar sports. Baseball had a game scheduled today, got rescheduled due to the weather. We were actually going to go up on the hill and check out the Diamond Cougars. Track and tennis will be going. Soccer, I'm sure we'll have a couple games this week. Actually had their first home game canceled last week. I believe we got some softball coming up Thursday.
Yeah, I assume that obviously you probably won't be seeing this in time to see the game tomorrow because of our uploading schedule. But since today's Monday, but Thursday the Lady Cougars take on Cougars up here at home. You can stop by and give them a look, give them a little support. I said the baseball team's going to have games starting up in earnest throughout the rest of the month. The Cougars will be hosting a track meet at some point, very likely in April or early May. Possibly two. There will also be a middle school meet that is hosted in Campbell County every year.
There's actually a middle school meet going on right now.
Up here at Campbell County? No.
But it's not the sectional meet. It's just a meet.
But there's always plenty of stuff to do in the spring. We'll try to get some information on the tennis schedule for you. The home tennis matches are very sporadic, very prone to be canceled. We've even been to tennis matches, and while the entire team was there ready for the other team to show up, the other team cancels. Due to the split field nature, a lot of teams will just would rather cancel and forfeit for Campbell County.
Because most teams only have one coach.
No, you can't really split the team unless they can find someone to volunteer coach or another administrator from the school who's willing to come up with them and split up.
See, Campbell County has the pair of coaches and can do that.
But like I said, there's plenty of time for Cougar spring sports. Spring football will be starting up in about a month up there on the hill, and they're going to have their spring game probably in late May. Very exciting time. Lots of different Cougar sports going on. Weather's nice this week. You know,
it's going to be a beautiful day beautiful week to catch some baseball and softball.
As opposed to last week, where it was cold, it was wet, it was rainy, it was snowy at times. So Patrick's passerby friends are walking by.
That was the world famous intern wandering through.
But it's just a good time. There's plenty of Cougar sports out there for you to go see, go catch. Other news, big news right now, of course, affecting East Tennessee or Tennessee, the state, is the Conzo Martin saga playing out. Martin got hot, actually had a good turning run, lost a tough, heartbreaking game to Michigan on a pretty terrible call, in my opinion. Most national pundits seem to also think that it was pretty bad, that it basically decided the game on a flop. And the guy flopped. He was falling down before Jarnell got there. And the new rule is this year that it's not a charge unless the defender is already set in place before the offensive player even begins his motion towards the basket. That's why it's been so hard to get charges called this year. Well, you clearly see on the replay, Jarnell starts toward the basket, the Michigan player shuffles in front of it. And that's just simply not a charge anymore according to the rules that the NCAA enforced very strictly most of the year. And strangely, Kentucky won the next day by running over people and not getting, those charges called. But they're Kentucky, they get that. I hate that they're in the Final Four, loathe the University of Kentucky. I would rather Michigan win 10 national titles than Kentucky ever win a game. I don't go for that whole pro SEC bull crap that I've been seeing a lot on Facebook lately, which kind of makes me feel physically ill.
Some people don't get it.
I mean, Kentucky fans that I know would not pee on Tennessee if we were all burning down as a state, and that's the right way to be. But anyway, Martin, the whole big story broke now that he's apparently unhappy over here. Apparently, and there may have been some issues with boosters. Who knows? It's rumors flying around, but Marquette looks like they may want to take the poison pill and hire him as their coach. Very interesting decision, in my opinion, from them. Marquette's a very good basketball school.
Traditionally, really
Marquette,
tough.
Marquette's been to Final Fours. Dwayne Wade played at Marquette. Doc Rivers played at Marquette. Marquette's won the national championship before in basketball. They spend a lot of money on it. They don't have a football program at all. All their money is generated and pours into basketball spending. They were paying their coach Buzz Williams $3 million a year. By comparison, Conzo Martin makes $1.5 million in Tennessee. And the Big East collapsed, though, this past season, and of course with the football realignment, and their TV contracts got a little sideways. most of the Marquette administration, I believe the university president and the athletic director resigned in December. And apparently Buzz Williams was not happy with the way things were going either, so he took a lower paying job at what most people consider a lesser basketball school and just jumped to Virginia Tech. There's actually plenty of stories out there and reported by national, guys like Greg Doyle from CBS Sports that Buzz Williams wanted the Tennessee job. And Buzz is a good coach. He took Marquette to 3
Love
Sweet
to have
16s
Buzz Williams.
and 2 Elite Eights, and signs really good recruiting classes at Marquette. But he was looking to get out. I mean, if Conzo Martin, if we lose one more game, we go to the NIT, Martin's almost immediately fired, and Buzz Williams would have been the coach here. As it is now, in the ironic twist of fate, apparently Conzo has been offered the job from Marquette, according to multiple sources, and actually had a meeting with them in person. Now, they say Tennessee offered $1.9 million, which is a $600,000 raise for Martin, big raise. With incentives, it would get his contract over $2 million. But the report is that they will not get into a bidding war with Marquette, and if Marquette wants him that bad and it's going to pay him more, he's free to go. And I think, personally, that would be the best decision that we can have.
I would love that. And what's his buyout?
It's starting tomorrow or Tuesday. This will probably be, of course, in the past for you all watching this, and you'll probably know what happened. But it goes down from $2.6 million to $1.3 million, and that's how much money that Conzo Martin would owe the university if he left before his contract's over. Usually, the school that's hiring you pays that buyout. Very likely would be that Marquette, they could negotiate it down some too if Tennessee's pretty happy with Conzo leaving. If not, Marquette wants to hire him, Marquette's going to pay him whatever they're going to pay, plus they're going to give Tennessee $1.3 million. Now that puts Tennessee in a very rare spot where it's not actually buying a coach out, and it's actually getting money for the coach leaving. And that gives Tennessee more money to spend on their coach. So if they're going to pay Martin basically $2 million anyway, and they were paying Bruce Pearl, his contract before he was let go was $2.3 million a season on average. That means Tennessee's got some good money to spend on basketball.
Right, and let's talk that for a minute. I mean, obviously Pearl's no longer in the equation.
No, the report that came out today was that Greg Marshall from Wichita State would be the #1 candidate for the job. Now, Greg Marshall, he's interviewed twice here and wanted the Tennessee job twice when he was at Winthrop. He had taken Winthrop, he coached there for 9 years and took him to 7 NCAA tournaments. They won 20 to 25 games every year under him there. And if you'll remember, when Tennessee was the #2 seed in Bruce Pearl's first year, it was a fadeaway Chris Lofton three-pointer from the corner that put that 15-seeded team out. And we beat them 63 to 61, and they were at 61 to 60 with a couple of seconds to go. And Winthrop's tough, and then as soon as Marshall just got they're very low-level school. And let's say their automatic tournament wins are 15 or 16 seed level team. But he did that 7 times, won his conference championship 7 times in 9 years, and won the tournament as well. Then he goes to Wichita State. They're in pretty bad shape. He has a couple of rough first 2 years, year 3, 4. You're looking at Final Four. I think he's maybe in year 5 now. He goes 35-0 before losing to Kentucky, who decided to finally show up and play. I mean, I said the entire tournament that Kentucky was way underseeded as an 8. That team had too much talent to be an 8 seed, and that really screwed over Marquette for a 35-0 season to put the preseason #1 team that many people thought would go 40-0 this year. A lot of people thought that they were going to go 40-0. That's how much talent Kentucky has. To get that as your second-round game as the 1 seed, that's tough. And obviously Kentucky's pretty much rolled everybody they played, so you saw
Have
how
high
well
hopes for Wisconsin.
Oh, God, I hope Wisconsin beats them by 50 points. But,
And I hate Wisconsin.
I don't like Wisconsin, but by God, anybody's better than Kentucky. I don't care if they're out there playing Sodom, Osama, and
Rector Miller.
the Super Devil, are on the other team. Actually, I kind of like the Super Devils. I don't want him in with those group. But anyway, Martin, if he goes and we could get Greg Marshall, that would be an immediate upgrade to our coaching. Immediate upgrade. It would be the best. We would get paid to get a better coach, essentially, if Martin takes this job. And people are saying Martin's all tore up. I don't know if he is or not. I don't know what the story is. I can't imagine a coach cares what message boards or petitions say. Those coaches work 18 hours a day at that level. I don't see how they have time. I know we got to ask a few questions, but if you're that sensitive about things like that, you don't need to be in a high-pressure job where you're making millions of dollars a year. You're going to get questions. The other rumor that he may be unhappy, that boosters, apparently there was a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, that boosters pulled their planes for recruiting and he had to take commercial flights recruiting. I mean, I can't fault a booster for that. I mean, some people are acting outraged on certain message boards, but, I mean, those guys, they run billion-dollar companies, and they give you a service. I mean, I think it's ridiculous to get mad over someone not giving you a service anymore that they've been giving you if they've been riding it freely. Those jets, they cost $25 or $30 million, and it costs $7,000 an hour to run one. So look how much money they're giving just to let somebody use their private jet. And if they choose that they don't have faith, and these are CEOs, they're the Jim Haslam's of the world, and Charlie Ergens who run Dish Network. These are people who have accomplished a lot in the corporate world. They know business, and they don't want to pour money into what they see as a bad investment, would be my opinion as to why that happened, if it happened. And if they think Conzo's out, some people say it was a pressure on the AD to get Pearl back. I don't believe that for a second, because I can't believe if that was the case, I believe we would have Bruce Pearl as our coach right now. Because when guys who make enough money and make enough donations that they're loaning you a private jet, or talking and want something to happen.
When Big Jim Haslam wants something to happen, it happens.
I mean, that's usually happens. I pointed this out earlier on one of the message boards. Somebody was saying that, and I said, you know, ask Philip Fulmer or Johnny Majors what happens when the big boosters don't support you anymore. You're gone. You're done. There's no question. The big boosters want something. They're the ones that pay the bill. You know, their names are the Pratts of the world that are on the Pratt Pavilion. They're the Thompsons and Bowlings that are on the arenas. And the buildings over there at UT are named after. You get a building named after you, you get a lot of pull.
Yeah.
And if those level of people have lost faith in Conzo Martin, I just don't see how it's going to work. Even if at this point, once he interviewed for Marquette, he went to an in-person interview. Once you've made that, you know, to me, you got to go. I mean, people were outraged as they could possibly be, and still talk about to this day that Bobby Petrino went and interviewed at Auburn for a football coach. That became a national story. But I mean, nobody's making a deal out of this when Conzo Martin did it. But I don't know if he's
because Bobby Petrino's a good coach.
If he got his feelings hurt and he wants to go, you know, you just let him go at this point. Get the buyout and get the best coach you can. I think there's quite a few coaches out there that could accomplish what Martin has here. He had a really sketchy resume when we hired him, but that was Mike Hamilton hired him. Mike Hamilton was kind of dumb a lot of times. Mike Hamilton was sort of on his way out anyway at the time, probably didn't care. But you got a guy like the guy who coaches at Akron. I can't remember his name right now. I'm not going to be able to remember these guys' names. I was looking at them earlier. He was LeBron James' high school coach. And he got promoted up through the system, won a lot of games in the Division II before he was LeBron's high school coach. He took over for Akron, the Akron Zips. Akron has won 20 to 25 plus games 9 years in a row now. His worst season with Akron was 19 wins. And you get a guy like that who's got a track record over 10, 12, 15 years. You don't go out and guess what, he was coached 2 or 3 years unless they made a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Conzo Martin had not even made the NCAA tournament.
No, he's made one tournament. That was this year.
His 5 years. It took him 6 years to make a tournament at all. But Archie Miller, the guy who coached Dayton, he's a hot name right now. Had a good turn in the tournament this year. Improved them immediately. He's Sean Miller's brother, the coach at Arizona. He was on Arizona's staff, so he knows the big level of basketball. He's one of the few coaches I would take that only have a few years' experience as a head coach right now. Otherwise, I would rather look at the guy like that. The guy who coaches at George Washington, I can't remember his name right now either, unfortunately, but he went to Vermont. This guy won some Division III national championships, went to Vermont, immediately got them better, made the NCAA tournament, went to George Washington. A couple of years in the end, he's improved them. They were 24-9 this year and were an 8 seed in the tournament, or maybe a 9 seed. But you look at guys, to me, who have a track record over 8, 10, 15 years. That's what Bruce Pearl did. Bruce Pearl won at lower levels and had a lot of coaching experience. I don't want to bring somebody in who's had 3 years and never been to the NCAA. You may have to. I don't know. I would hope not. But, I mean, the fact that they would target Greg Marshall, if that's even being mentioned, it was mentioned by, I think, Rob Lewis from VolQuest.
Well, let's throw this in there. What about a high-level assistant that has been with a...
I don't think you'll ever see us hire another high-level assistant. Because you know who was a high-level assistant? Wade Houston. He had been, 2 national championships with Denny Crum. I just can't see us ever hiring that high-level assistant. People are throwing out Wojo from Duke. I don't know. Duke assistants don't do a whole lot once they move up. A couple of them's had some pretty good success. But we'll just have to say, I don't even know if Conzo's going to leave or not. I can't imagine he's not going to. I don't know why you go to an in-person meeting. And apparently they said Marquette had offered him the job. I don't know any other circumstances. I hope he goes. People can say, well, it's going to get worse, it's going to get bad. I mean, I got us at through Wade Houston. It can't get any worse than 5-22. But, man, that's about it for now, I guess, on the UT front of things.
Of course, us Spartans, we had to postpone this week's game. We've not rescheduled it yet, but the way the weather was, the thunderstorms didn't happen, but it was such a torrential downpour that we would have not. Jacksboro's field would have been unusable this spring.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go out and these fields. I mean, they're made to play football on, but not so much this time of year because of the type of grass they have on them.
And Jacksboro is 100% Bermuda.
And
it's dormant.
That grass is dormant, and you're just going to tear it all to pieces.
Now,
it's
Lake
very,
City's an outfield too, so
it's very
it's
nice
in
of
better
the
shape.
schools to allow you to host these, and the community allow you to host these games, but you don't want to tear their field all to pieces.
Oh no, absolutely. My hat is off to Mike Miller, Steve Rutherford, all those guys for letting us come in. And we're still, if nothing else, going to be at Jacksboro against the Mingo County Bears on the 10th. Also, I'll have more details next week. We're about to put on the first ever Spartan 3-on-3 basketball tournament to kind of allay some of our travel expenses. I mean, we've got some big road trips. We're going to West Virginia twice and Morgantown, North Carolina. And we're going to Nashville this weekend, which isn't that bad, but it's still a haul.
I look forward to hearing the details on that. Those 3-on-3 tournaments. I used to play in some myself over at Thompson Bowling Arena back when I was a skinnier and much more athletic person before my broken bones and other injuries got to me. But
And I've actually had guys from Knoxville, that said, some guys I used to wrestle with said they come, and rumor is if we have it, Sean Bohannon's bringing a team.
well, they're fun and they can be profitable. Those we played in raise money for the Boy Scouts. But anything's a good cause to help you all get your team underway and get your product out on the field.
Like I said, this is a long-term thing with this team. I've got a great bunch. I'm going to have a bigger, better team next year. It's all up from here. It's all positives.
Well, I guess that's about it on the sporting front this week. Since
It is.
break's
We'll
over.
have lots more to talk about next week, fans. We'll see you next time. Same Pat time, same Pat channel.